Hey everyone, welcome back to the AV Playground. Today we're talking about the day I got into Blu-ray discs. So the year was 2014. The Blu-ray format has been popular for 6 years at the time. It started in 2008. But at that time I was still watching DVD. I guess because at that time we still had a CRT with a built-in DVD player. And then, I started building my own DVD setup in my bedroom around 2009, 2010 with a DVD player you can connect to a projector, like a standard DVD player. And I can hook it up to my projector, which was an iClops mini projector at the time. And then in 2012, I got my first HDTV for the bedroom, which had a built-in DVD player. And of course, had an Apple TV with it as well. But I didn't get into Blu-ray until 2 years later after getting my HDTV. And also 6 years after Blu-ray won the format war against HD DVD. So here was the first movie I bought, on Blu-ray because I wanted the DVD. Yep, I wanted the DVD disc. But I knew that Blu-ray was becoming the mainstream, or been the mainstream for a while. So, yeah, here is Cloud Chins and Meatballs 2. I mean, I probably didn't miss out on a whole lot when it comes to waiting until 2014 to get into Blu-ray discs. And I've been building my collection for the last 11 years at this time. And right over here is the second movie I remember buying on Blu-ray is Grown Ups 2. As you see, Blu-ray, DVD, and I bought the combo pack. I think it came with a digital code, but I'm not sure what happened to all my earlier digital codes. I guess Ultraviolet went out of business, so I guess Ultraviolet was the main way for us to get our movies into the computer or wherever, and I got to watch all my movies with Ultraviolet because I think there were some streaming services that allowed Ultraviolet connectivity. So I watched those until Ultraviolet went out of business. So I still have the DVD and the Blu-ray of Grown Ups 2. So I guess a lot of my earlier Blu-rays were pretty much connected with Ultraviolet. So I watched it still on DVD and Blu-ray because I do have the combo pack. I mean, I bought so many different movies. And then a year later, in late 2015, on the Xbox One, I watched Ted 2 on the actual Blu-ray. That was the first time I saw a Blu-ray, was with the Xbox One, which had a built-in Blu-ray player. And then downstairs, I mainly watched the DVD. So this was the first movie I remember watching on Blu-ray. And then a year later, in 2016, I went to Best Buy, and for my birthday, I got me a Blu-ray player. It was an LG Blu-ray player, which only had 1080p at the time. And Brave was actually one of the first movies I remember buying on Blu-ray when I got the Blu-ray player. And I can't remember what other movies I bought alongside Brave to go along with my first ever Blu-ray player, to mark the occasion of watching movies on Blu-ray. But ever since then, I started getting into Blu-ray a lot and seeing how much of, a better quality we got compared to the DVD at the time. I think this one right here was actually another one of them that we got as well, The Force Awakens, but I'm not sure exactly what other movies I got alongside Brave, at Best Buy. Yeah, this is when Best Buy sold Blu-rays and, physical media. So 2016 was the year I got my first Blu-ray player for my birthday, which this was my 22nd birthday. Yep, 22nd birthday. Getting into Blu-ray and watching Blu-rays for the first time and really experiencing Blu-ray. And after that, I started collecting movies not just on the combo packs, but on the standalone Blu-rays. I was able to watch them on my TV. Which at that time I got into Blu-ray, I started building my man cave. So I moved my Blu-ray player from downstairs in my bedroom to up here where my Hitachi 55-inch TV was, and started building a nice home theater setup with the Hitachi 55-inch 1080p TV, which had a built-in Roku. By the time I used an Apple TV. And then I also had the Blu-ray player, which can play also DVDs, because a Blu-ray player can play both Blu-ray discs and DVDs. So I was able to still watch my older DVD collection that I've been collecting since 2002, but in high definition. And it's upscaled to 1080p at the time. And I've been collecting for a while. But in 2017, a year later, after a year of collecting the standalone Blu-rays, I got into another format. 4K Blu-ray. And the first movie I remember buying was... Let me see if I can find it here. The Greatest Showman. That was my first 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray that I mainly bought for the Blu-ray disc. And during my early days of collecting Blu-rays, I mainly also collected the standalone DVDs at the time. So we have our Blu-ray and our Ultra HD Blu-ray. See, I didn't get into the Ultra HD Blu-ray until 2021. 2021, when I got this TV right here, the LG 55-inch 4K TV. But in April of that year, I got my first 4K player. And wow, what a difference it was compared to the standalone Blu-ray. But one day I might get back into the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. And then I started collecting more 4Ks whenever possible. Until recently, when I had to switch back to my Sony Blu-ray player here. It had been the last year or two. And I started going back to the standard 1080p Blu-ray instead of the 4K Blu-ray, not really getting into the 4K quality anymore, because we had to downscale to a standard high-def 1080p Blu-ray player from Sony. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And the 4K player I got was made by Philips. Yep, Philips had a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray player, which was huge. It would actually be right out, like, little off of this table, which is insane, of how long and wide the Blu-ray player was at the time. But now, this one takes up a lot less space, but the quality is core when it comes to, I mean, it's the highest quality that this thing can handle is 1080p, and it works really well on this 4K TV, but I'm not getting the full, like, definition, the right resolution of what this TV can that handle is 4K Ultra HD, which is why I started getting the 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays at the time, because I would actually buy the 4K if I knew that the standard 1080p Blu-rays that are in these blue cases were not available. I mainly bought it for the standard Blu-ray, the 1080p Blu-ray. It wasn't until 2021 I started really getting into 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays and had that HDR, which is high dynamic range. So I mainly bought it for the standard Blu-ray to watch on my 1080p TV at the time. And this was actually my second 4K Blu-ray, House of the Clock in its Walls. Because I mainly bought it for the standard Blu-ray, and it even had a digital code to watch downstairs. It's like with the standard 1080p Blu-rays with the DVDs. And I think that's the best we've got was 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. This was the closest we got. And then, physical media started to fall out of fashion in favor of streaming services. Like Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV, Disney Plus, Peacock, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, stuff like that. Things started to move slowly to streaming services. So when it comes to physical media, I think this is the last new physical media format we ever got was 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. And then a step back was the 1080p Blu-ray, so it was perfected over the years with the 4K and adding, it's the same technology, but upscale to be 4K, Ultra HD. And I think we are moving forwards with streaming services. Because we take a look at the Lilo and Stitch movie that was, advertised. It's only released on digital, and then I guess months and months later, we're going to get the Blu-ray of Lilo and Stitch. That'd be a good movie to add to my Blu-ray collection, is the Lilo and Stitch movie. So I think that's as far as we got. So today, as you can see, we're only using 1080p Blu-rays on a 4K TV, which is not getting the full. We're not getting the full 4K experience that this TV can handle. But I guess it's good enough for casual movie watching and viewing. And the sound quality is decent for this kind of TV. We get 7.1 surround sound, and the Blu-rays are actually much durable. Even with 4K, they're quite durable. But with DVDs, they're a scratch magnet. But DVD was good for the time of CRTs, which we discussed in the last video of how I got into DVD going from VHS. But things started to get better and better and better. But I guess when COVID hit, that's when it was the nail in the coffin. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.